Dennis actually had a really good recap. So, where was this? We went down the trachea to a lung, then through the alveoli to a pulmonary artery, then to the heart. Our benevolent DM helped us avoid a TPK, and we defeated the blight on the heart of the Colossus. We can go back the way we came until we get to the lungs, at which point we'll need a sail or something to take advantage of the mighty exhalation of this mind-bogglingly large being. That's pretty much what it were. There was this Colossus that you spent quite a while tracking down. It seems to have been the creature that caused the giant wave that rocked the ship as you were approaching the Shrouded Isles, and then it kind of came inland, and you went out to meet it to try and head it off. It seemed like it was very confused and was having a heavy internal struggle, which you resolved by destroying the aspect of chaos that had it literally ensnared its heart. So, Keepers of Fate.
I am Cre-
What
I
would
am
you like to
Cremor
do?
Tutatis. I am Cremor Tutatis. You will board my boat, sail across the Shrouded Isles, and restore the heart of Tefiti, or whatever the Guardian's name is.
He might actually be able to tell you now that he's a little bit more clear-headed.
I'm Tefiti.
Hi, I'm Tafidi. What's your name?
So, we should try to take a rest because I think we're a bit tapped for getting out of here and in vital signs. Can we? I don't know. Do a survival check to find a stable enough place back along the way to camp.
As I mentioned before, the artery is kind of wide enough near the heart that you can kind of set up there.
Okay.
If you light a fire, you might give him a bit of heartburn, but it won't be anything too serious.
Do we need a fire?
No, that was mostly
Good.
just for
All right.
For the pun.
So you guys want to a long rest? Jesse says okay.
Okay.
No one says okay. All right, long rest.
All
Maybe
right.
by the time we get out of here, we'll be at the Saint's house.
Yeah, maybe.
He was heading in that direction. Maybe he's still going in that direction.
All right.
Free ride.
Yeah. So so as you take your long rest, you can kind of like as you sort of calm yourselves down from the action that was. I'm gonna mute Rob. There we go. As you kind of calm yourselves down from the action that was this battle and the near-death experience that several of you had, you okay, he's back. I'm gonna unmute him now. Hey, Rob.
Yep. Had to clean up dog puke. Sorry.
I did that a little earlier. I puked up a whole dog. It was terrifying. Alrighty. So, yes, as you wind it down, you actually kind of get like a visceral sense of this being's enormity because you could kind of feel the weight shift with every immense step, and just how long each step takes is insane. Like it's just like almost a minute between each footfall because this thing is just so huge. It takes forever for it to get its feet in front. Of course, a single stride is, an immense amount of distance, but it ain't agile, we'll say that. Its dex bonus is not high. But you do seem to be continuing to move while you are taking a long rest within this thing. And you manage to gain all of the benefits of your rest. You do get a full night's sleep. Except it's always night in here because you're inside of a body. Yeah, so as you finish recovering, there's nothing really to look out for. You're inside of a body. The antibodies aren't, a threat in any sense. And there's not like there's anything else alive in here. So your rest is peaceful. In fact, the swaying of this immense giant is kind of like it's a little like being back on the ship that took you here, and it's kind of relaxing, and it kind of lulls you to sleep.
Nice.
It works on kids.
Yep. All right. So at the end of your rest, what would you like to do?
So I know that one or two of you can probably turn into a gaseous state and just get exhaled out. And I know that Norwin can probably spread his wings like a sail and get exhaled out. And then that leaves me. So I'm gonna ask pretty please if Farkin wouldn't mind casting levitate on me so I can get exhaled out. So just sort of.
Yeah, I can totally do that.
All right.
All right.
So with that, we should just go out with his breath.
So making your way back along the alveoli into the lung, you get into this immense, effectively pressure chamber, and you cast these spells to get yourselves kind of light, or in Norman's case, spreads his wings to catch the wind. And on the next exhalation, which, similarly to his steps, the breathing is very slow on this creature as well. These breaths are immense. And with the next exhalation, which takes a good, minute to come around, you feel this immense updraft of pressure moving through, and it catches each one of you all at once, just kind of throws you up. And you are exhaled out of his mouth, seeing the whole area that you traverse through coming down just pass you by in the blink of an eye, basically, with the force of this exhalation. Yeah, you are out. As you come out, the Colossus kind of notices there's something coming up, and seeing you expelled from his mouth, kind of reaches out and catches you on his hands.
All right.
Which is kind of like being on a very broad plateau, because his hands are enormous.
So no one was able to talk to him. Norman, I've got a couple of questions for him. First, I want to know if he's feeling okay. Second, I want to know if we're on the way to the Saint's house, if we can get there. And third, I want to know if he's interested in being, he and the other Guardians are interested in being allies in our fight, in our struggle.
Okay.
I cast tongues, and then I ask him that.
Okay. Possibly one of you using thaumaturgy to amplify the voice again.
Yeah.
We replay the scene from God of War where Atreus and Kratos talk to Jormungandr. And in the giant's tongue, you ask these questions, or in your tongue, and he understands you. In the giant's tongue, he responds. And he says that he's, again, I'm not going to try to do the voice. It's just not, it's not something I can imitate. So he responds that he is feeling much better. That what was ailing him has seemed to be completely gone. He doesn't feel any pain anymore. And his mind is clear. He additionally responds that he is still on his way to Arthur's residence. He believes that the Saint would probably like to meet you all, and is going to take you to see him. Finally, he says that the help he can offer is only to uphold his sacred oath.
Which is what?
What is that oath?
Peanut butter.
I don't think it's peanut butter. Calm down, little one.
He kind of pauses for a moment, and considers the question, seeming to try and figure out a way to phrase it that would make sense. And when he finally speaks again, he says that his sacred oath is to, when the time is right, bring forth an artifact that will save the world.
It was peanut butter.
Unless it has jelly.
It would not save Dennis's world, but it would save the other people's world.
It would end it.
What?
I have no further questions.
Alrighty.
Wait, this artifact would end Dennis's world?
No. Peanut butter.
Peanut butter.
Oh.
So
The-
Cranmore is content to meditate until we get to the Saint's house.
Okay. It does not take as long as it would were you on your own feet. It takes about a day, so he travels through the night, seeming to need no sleep. And then about the same point in the day, which you estimate was about, I think we said mid to late afternoon, was when you went in.
Mhm.
And then I guess you would have gotten a rest. So you probably actually would have woken up and asked him these questions in like early morning. So early morning on the following day, you feel the giant's movement kind of come to a halt, and with a final like large thud, one foot is placed directly next to the other, and then you begin feeling this this whooshing sensation of just your stomach kind of drops a little bit from just the acceleration of him dropping down to one knee. And it's a little bit sickening. It's not like con save sickening because he's trying to be gentle, but it's like, yeah, it's a vast and rather quick drop. And you kind of like air gets heavier as you go further down, and you like hit the ground. And you're like have a little trouble breathing for a moment before you reacclimate to the denser atmosphere. But he has knelt down to put you onto the shore by the river that he was traveling, or by the channel that he was traveling up. And when he sets you down, you kind of look out and survey the landscape, and you see all around you is, you know, still that beautiful green pastoral land, but the holy peak that you saw from the other end of the island is now much closer. In fact, it looms just maybe a mile or two from where you are is the base of the mountain, and it kind of looms overhead, dominating the skyline. And the giant then kind of whispers, which comes out as a strong wind with vibrations, that he is waiting for you at the base of the mountain.
That's all sound is, bruh.
You're not wrong.
We're all just vibrating air.
All right.
So we should.
Did you all want to ask his name while you are traveling?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
He tells you that his name is more of a title that he was given when he was created. And he and his three brothers have these names in the giant tongue, which are, he is the Watcher, and his brothers are the Rift, the Tide, and the Thunderhead.
Sweet.
Mountain Bowl 17. Rift v Thunderhead.
Hell yeah.
This is a power rock band from
Yes, it is.
the 80s.
The Rift, the Tide, and what's the other one?
The
Thunderhead.
Yeah, they're totally like a hair metal band. We're gonna need this. We're gonna need this covered, chat. If any of you are watching, we're gonna need that done. Thank you very much.
So we
All
should
right.
just mount and find this person. Thank you so much, Watcher.
He dips his head briefly and then slowly rises back up to 2 feet and turns to walk away, causing a great flowing of the river's waters as he leaves. You're far enough away that it doesn't like flood over you, but you can see the floodwaters kind of spill onto the plain. Heading northward to cover the remaining distance between yourselves and the mountain. After a brief bit, you see a bright white light shine forth from a point source, hailing you as a beacon. So heading towards that, most of you, I think, on foot because we don't have horses, but I guess all of you
Horse.
on foot, just some of the feet are hooves. You quickly reach the source, and you see before you a man in very simple clothing, very austere, plain white robes clean, but unornate, just very, very plain robes. His hair is gorgeously like golden blonde and combed perfectly. His face is high cheekboned, strong jawline, but kind and warm, as though it looks very much like a face that has seen much in its past, but has grown past those struggles. It was once perhaps scarred with lines of worry and cares, but now is full of glee and kindness. And he beckons to you as you approach and kind of begins to walk forward to meet you halfway. He doesn't say
let's walk
anything
forward.
at first. He allows you to take the first words and just sort of looks from one to the other of you and smiles warmly at each in turn.
I return with a silent, calm smile without speech. Also,
I kind of bow my head gracefully in respect, and I
He
say, "Hello."
Greetings. I
Are you the
am
one
Saint Arthur.
Arthur?
Yes. And you, I take it, are the... Oh wait, sorry. And you, I take it, are the keepers of fate.
That we are.
I have heard of your arrival from my friends on the southern shore. I'm glad you've come to my island.
Why is that?
The world has need of you.
Are you protecting this island
In a sense,
from what's happening out there?
yes. Though my
Are you-
protection began before we knew what was going to happen with Ronglathor.
It began before the scouring?
No, no. After the scouring, but before we knew that he was rising again.
who is
I see.
Fromlathor to you? From someone of your point of view, who or what is Fromlathor?
An interesting question, that. An old foe? A rival?
You fought against him.
I did.
How can he be defeated?
If I knew that, we wouldn't be here. If I knew that, we would have succeeded 327 years ago.
The weapon's not enough.
Not on their own, no. I have heard whispers of something on these very isles, but whether or not there's any truth to them, I have yet to see.
Please tell us.
Let us go to my home first. It will be more comfortable to speak there.
Okay.
It
Follow.
is just
Lead
up
the
the
way.
mountain. Come forward, if you will. Flight will make this easier. And as each of you kind of comes forward, he just a light tap on the shoulder as he casts fly and allows each of you the power of flight. So ascending the mountain takes the better part of a week without magical aid. You all, of course, are now under no such restrictions. With this newfound ability to fly, soaring over the smaller peaks and crossing the rivers that flow from the mountaintop, the astonishing beauty of the Isles takes on an etherealness that somehow makes it even more enchanting. Wild creatures run free over the ridges and glades that dot the mountainside. Here a bear fishes for its midday meal in the shade of perfectly green trees. Higher up, where the snow sits pristinely on the ground despite the mild climate, a fox plays with its mate, while a family of hawks fly over the treetops. The land stretches out below you, getting smaller and smaller, but somehow maintaining its domination of the skyline. Far and green it stretches before you. Yet among all of this, the home of St. Arthur, nestled in the highest peak of the mountain, seems more inviting still. Wasteful of none of its material, the home blends into the mountainside, using the natural stone as 3 of its 4 main walls. The fourth is built of vertical wood planks, with large round portals carved out for windows and the main door. That door is framed by a broad porch, upon which are nearly a dozen visiting creatures, nibbling at grain and berry feeders set out for them. As you watch, and some of these creatures nibble away and eat the food that is set out, the containers magically refill, replenishing themselves as they are consumed. Arthur kind of alights before the porch and beckons you all towards the door, opening it wide for you, and allowing you in before himself.
This is incredible.
He smiles
Alright.
and says, "Thank you.
Yes.
It is a real blessing I've been given."
By
And so
whom?
we can discuss that inside.
All right.
So he leads you into effectively the sitting room that is just beyond the entrance. It is very warm. The wood that the furniture is made of is this rich reddish color, somewhere between like cherry and mahogany, but a wood that would not be recognized to our human eyes in this world. Um, a fireplace is dormant, but at a snap of his fingers, roars to life, and the crackling flames soon fill the room with a warm light and physical warmth as well. He gestures for each of you to sit, and there are, in fact, just enough chairs for everyone, including a chair that is designed for centaurs to kind of allow you to rest your hindquarters while still having sort of support for your midsection and forelegs. It is a very comfortable room. He himself sits in a chair by the fire, kind of slightly reclined, and at another gesture from him, a tea kettle puts itself on a table in the middle, and cups of tea appear on end tables next to each of you, already full. So, as to your first question, when I survived Kronglathor, I was given a choice just before the planes were rent apart. I was told I could become a god. I turned the offer down. I didn't want the distance that comes with that assignment. I wanted to be near folks, care for them. This world had become my home, though I was not born here. Recognizing my wishes, the gods decided that even if I were not to join them, I should have some measure of the benevolent power that is given them. So they carved out these isles for me, and for the kind that lived here, and allowed a protective barrier to be formed around them that was fueled by the power they granted directly to me. So while I am on these isles, I, well, I am not so powerful as Kronglathor or the other gods, so it is not as though we are impervious to his influence, as you saw. But my power keeps the majority of that corruption at bay.
And what was this? The Watcher spoke of a weapon, and you spoke of a thing in rumor that might be on this very island. Are they one and the same, or are we talking about two different things?
If I'm honest, I'm not sure, but the Watchers are the first time I heard of that rumor. It would seem that there must be some truth to it. There are these immense beings that have been here long before uh, any living memory, as I understand it, even before some of the gods themselves. But they don't seem to be fully aware of what it is they guard. So I'm not sure if it's distorted in their minds, if whoever made them gave them an idea that was false, or at least not completely true. It's hard for me to say, but they are why I have searched and searched. They keep when I speak to them, they talk of the right time, and if it's not coming, then I don't know when that might be. It had best be soon. I have tried, despite that, to find it, searched all over the island, but I've had no luck so far, which is why I call it a rumor. Not sure if there's any truth to it. Well,
Do you have any questions for us?
several. Though, before that, I am, so you know of Hronglathor, which means that the spell has either started to wane, or other methods have allowed you to learn of his existence. Which means you might know of the heroic Decad. They were, well, the other 9 of them were my compatriots. We fought him together. I've lived these past 300 years thinking that I was the only one who survived. Is that true?
So far as we can tell,
we know.
that seems to be the case.
I understand. Thank you.
Norwin and I have both had visions of those times, and we saw some of you fighting the coming horde using relic weapons, and we found a few of them.
Yes, I feel their presence. Very well. My time for grief has passed.
Out of character, did Norwin and I recognize him from Skull Visions?
Yeah, you would. He looks significantly different now, but like as he reveals this, you can kind of make the connection. The man in your visions was bedecked in like cloth of gold, in this like beautiful, ornate livery and all of this fancy stuff. The man before you is somewhat similar in like the face, although as I mentioned before, like the lines of worry have long since gone away. Um, and he is, much more austere in his personal presentation these days.
I remember you from your yearbook photo.
It has been a while. Sure, I looked different back then. But
Which
yes,
which weapon is he?
he is Scanden's the longsword,
Okay.
which he does
Do you
not
still have
have
your-
on his person.
Do you still have the longsword?
It is nearby on the sister peak to this one, but the sealing of the weapons was a requirement for Hronglathor to stay sealed away, so it is still within a reliquary, locked by an annulus. The
Oop.
We're close to the map of Annuli, aren't we? That's what brought us to this your island in the first place.
oh, aye, there is a the first place that I settled on this island before I moved up here to the Holy Peak. There is a smaller home that I stay in when I'm visiting the eastern shores of this place. The map is there, but if you're this far, I don't think you'll have much use of it now.
Mm.
Still,
Sure.
it's good that you. It's a good thing that you came here. We can release the final relic and If I trust my instincts, and I do, I think it best if I drop the protections on this place once that relic is released.
How do you think your people will handle that?
Despite living a blessed life, they're strong folk. I think they'll manage. I'm
What is?
more concerned with what lies beyond. If I can break down the walls, the power that lives here, that emanates from me, might be able to push the forces of Ronglethor back long enough to give whatever battle is being fought an opening. Might weaken him.
Ah, that does make sense.
How bad is it? How many relics have been found? How chaotic has the world become?
Our latest information is that I think 8 relics have been found.
I see.
At least one of them by the King of Dane, who leads an army of chaos and wraith hearts in the name of
Wraithhearts.
Honglothar.
I see.
We also got information that, so in the new city of Lila, some strangers came telling us of a machine that is able to make wraith hearts. And while they destroyed one, it was reproducible.
The engines. That was another invention of the Ulvari that got distorted when Hronglathor rose.
So the continent has fallen into war, chaotic war, and
If these engines are back, that means that Hronglathor is likely near the power that he had before the Scouring. That is no comforting thought. I see. Well. I suppose, then, that the best course of action is to find this relic, get it back in probably one of your hands. I don't know that as strange as it is to say, I don't think I'm the same person who wielded it before. I don't think it should come back to me. I think it should go to one of you or one of your allies. And once we find it, see if if those colossi, if those guardians will believe us that it's the right time. Maybe find out for themselves.
Why do you trust us?
Why do I trust you? You have my friend's weapons. They can't be held by just anyone. You have to prove yourselves worthy, and I don't just mean the trials that were designed to keep folk out. The weapons themselves choose who it is that wields them. They were made to be.
oh,
They were made to be a manifestation of not just the power, but the souls of those who wielded them and those who made them.
Who made them?
Ah. Have you heard of Gond, the god of craft?
Yes.
It was he. And as far as I know, he is the only one who's ever been able to fire the Godforge.
Maybe we need to get in contact with him again.
isn't that all closed out off to us now?
A little less so here. but still, yes. I could see if I can get him to respond, but I think what did you have in mind? He can't come here to use the God's Forge.
He can't even turn it on.
I don't think so. Not unless the channel between our worlds is broken.
I see.
Nonetheless, the reliquary is just beside the God's Forge, built into the mountain behind it. Probably still a good idea to go over there, once we get you the annulus, that is. Did you have any other questions for me?
How
There is
can we
much
be
to
of help?
tell.
I wonder if that's answering itself now. How can we be of help? Do you? We know there's another group that's been finding these relics, and we do need to find them, and they need to find us.
I see. Then it seems even more necessary that I open the borders to this place. They won't be able to get here without them open. Once I open them, I noticed that the towers that the Ulvari created, they seem to be active again. I suppose you saw great towers like the ones out there jutting up out of the ground.
Yes.
Once I drop the
Yes.
borders, you'll be able to travel between them and the others. And vice versa.
Sorry, I'm getting a little distracted looking at that big thing of GIF there.
Peanut butter.
Yeah, just a little. It's getting all uncomfortable.
As far as how you can help, that relic weapon, wielding it will increase your odds against Tronglathor, but I could use some assistance figuring out if there's any truth to this rumor, and if there is, what we can do to harness it.
Absolutely, every asset we can get. But
But
should we
first
get the
things
relic
first.
first?
Yes, let's. I'll retrieve the annulus. I'll be right back. And he stands up out of his chair and walks into the next room, and you hear a little sound of magical energy being expended. And he walks back in and he hands, probably Cranmore actually, the annulus.
In exchange, I give him the compass.
He takes the compass and looks at it somewhat curiously and says, "Now that's interesting. Where did you come by this?"
In a cave on the continent. Gosh, a while ago now. It was behind a door that you had to. You could sort of speak telepathically to this guard door, and it let me through. Okay.
Prove ourselves worthy.
Yeah, and boy, did our friend get knocked back a bit. Apparently, he was left. He left the door wanting, and but the compass was presented to us, and it was my heart's desire to have a direction to where the annuli would be.
I see. So this is pointing you to the map then.
Yes.
If I'm right about this object, you're lucky one existed. I think it would have just not worked if you'd asked it for something that wasn't findable. Intriguing. May I keep it?
I'd prefer that you did. Falling into the wrong hands, that could be dangerous.
Indeed it could. Now, let's go on over to the other peak where the God's Forge sits.
Do we still have the ability to fly?
He can give it to you again.
Jeez.
He is barely shy of a god. Like he's not a god, but he's like within this area, he might as well be.
Huh.
Um, to like I guess to put it in
I can
perspective,
see.
I have a slight I have a perspective of them being like gods have that much power, but like everywhere. He has that much power like in a small area, so once he breaks those barriers down, he will be less powerful because there's like an aspect of like dilution to his power. But not so with like full-blown gods, if that makes sense.
He's like the god of the island.
Yeah. Like a nature
Yeah.
spirit. He's got power here. So as you exit the domicile and are touched again with the power to fly, as you alight, or not alight, as you take off, Cranmore in particular, you remember some words that kind of ring out in your mind. And they are, always obscured, yet in
Yeah,
plain
I'm looking
sight
it up
I
now.
lay. No stars here to guide you by night or by day. Many have sought the treasure I hold, yet each have they failed, the rich and the bold. Sinners and saints are all welcome within, so long as they show the virtues herein. But even the blessed can be led astray, give in to pride and moral decay. To walk the fields of Evergreen Gorge,
and with the gods a firm bond forge. To tread upon the sand-white shores, show me true humility, and all is yours. The Shrouded Isles.
Yep.
I'll look at you guys finishing each other's sentences.
Stanzas. We finished stanzas.
Should I be jealous?
Yes.
Maybe a bit.
We're having a moment. Saint
That's
Artem, Cranmore, that is.
that's part of the in-person thing that I really miss. Our little flirtations.
Yeah.
Really is lacking over voice call or video call. Alas, I can't touch that beautiful face of yours. But yes, so these stanzas ring out once more in your mind, and now you have the answer. You have a vision to put to the words. So as you fly, you are going across the channel to the Eastern Isle. Make pretty quick work of it as you're flying rather quickly, and you see a peak almost the exact twin of the Holy Peak that you were just on. A little bit different, but like same mineral composition, same basic shape. Like they're almost mirror images of each other. But this one on a peak that is a little bit below the very top. There is a plateau, maybe 150 feet across. And from afar, you can see what looks like a rough circle, sort of in the middle of it, maybe 20 feet across. But as you alight on this plateau and as you get closer and gain visual definition, you can see that it is a very large blacksmith's forge. It is dark, it is unlit, the coals sit cold within it, but its shape and construction is unmistakable, and an enormous bellows sits next to it, which it doesn't actually have any handles. It seems to be operated by magical means of some kind, as best you can figure. In addition, otherwise, what do you cast?
Legend lore to see if there's any way that we can get this started again.
Okay.
What
With
arrogance.
with my mace.
Yeah, so using Ofrid, you can gain all of the information that is possibly known about the God's Forge, because Ofrid allows you to gain unerring information. So, as you survey the plateau and you attempt to divine the lore of this particular area, uh, you already know, of course, that the God's Forge was used to craft the relic weapons. What furthermore presents itself to you is that the God's Forge actually does predate Gond. Uh, while Gond has used it to craft weapons for gods before, as well as to craft certain artifacts that are used to either channel the power of gods in like their primary temples, or that adorn the actual physical homes of them, with things like magical wards and barriers and various other religious artifacts. Before Gond, it was used to craft parts of the universe itself.
What?
Yep. And you actually wondering if
Ooh, can we
yeah, I
craft a
mean,
new universe?
fuck it.
When you say parts of the universe, do you mean like this plane or all planes or
uh so since you cast legend lore, um not entire planes, not with the forge were entire planes crafted. With the forge, it was more like specific worlds or like um parts of like the plane mechanus, which is like the plane of logic and truth, effectively. Um, like parts of the heart of that world were forged in the God's Forge. Um, Beyond that, what you learn, and this is endgame shit, so this is I'm gonna give it to you. Uh, the power source for the forge, the reason that it has lied dormant and can only be activated by a god or a similar being, is because the thing that fires its coals is the spark of creation. So even before Gond was able to fire the forge and use it to create these things, its power source was literally used to weave the universe out of nothing.
what?
It is the power source to this forge is the tool of the creation of everything, and it has only been before it was like so the God's Forge is actually kind of a metered version of its power. It is not the full capability of the World Spark. Um, Before
Oh.
it was harnessed as this power source, it was actually like it was the tool of effectively a progenitor god, a god that predated the gods that are known in the multiverse. Uh,
Oh.
and several of their predecessors, think like Greek Titans esque type thing, several of those beings were forged from the World Spark. They just popped out of it, fully formed. This is a hell of a revelation. So Norwin is just like wide eyed, staring at this thing.
I'm
Judging by Norwin's dumbfounded look and
Peering
awe,
into the
I'm
secrets
gonna
of the
assume
universe.
I'm going to assume a couple of things. One, we're not starting up this forge. Two, he's looked into the abyss and the abyss looked back, and he's gotten a sense of his of all of our diminutive place in this enormous expanse of everything. And three, he's going to keep it to himself.
There is one more thing that Norwin might not want to keep to himself. As you're looking at the forge, you know that it has been cold for some time, and part of that is because there are holes in it, literal holes. The stone casing, which is just covered with magical runes, um, has 4 gaps that seem like they're just at like cardinal points on the encasing. Uh, that with your spell, you know are filled by the keystones you have found, those little stone eggs with the brass rings.
It's a good thing
Oh.
I'm onto those.
Do we still have the little brass ring things?
You have 2 of them.
Where are the others? Jasna might know.
I think you all know the location of one of them. I'm trying to remember if you do. No, because I think, did you all find 2, or did Jesse's patron give you one?
I think we found one in an obelisk that was like around this island or something.
Yeah.
And then I don't know about the other one.
Maybe they haven't given it to you yet. It's possible. Yeah. Yeah, I think they might not
I
have.
thought
Azareth might have.
Azrath. I thought Azrath. Yes, I'm like not Azrael. Azrath. I thought gave us one.
Which you all don't yet know is
Well-
actually a different person, but that'll come out soon. All right.
But Azarath, I think when we were leaving the tunnel from where the Drow city was,
Mhm.
I think we were gifted one then.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Cool. Yes. So you have 2 of them. You do not know where the 3rd and 4th are. I know where they are, but you don't. However, you do have the rumor that one of them might be on this island.
Does the forge have the power to destroy as well as create?
Are you asking Norwin or Arthur?
I suppose I don't even know Norwin was learning this, do I?
I mean, legend lore is it does have a visual component to it. So you could tell he's casting a spell. You don't necessarily know what it was. And I think
But
it's
you
the
can
first time
tell
you've
by
cast it.
my
So I just say it out loud for everyone to hear. Anybody can answer.
Okay.
Do I know?
In an abstract sense, the answer to the question would be yes. But in a more real sense, the answer is the question is wrong. It is not so much that the spark of creation itself creates or destroys. What it does is forms order from chaos. So if order would be achieved by creating, it creates. If order would be achieved by destroying, it destroys. If order would be achieved by reorganizing, it reorganizes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not quick enough to respond anytime soon. I'm like flabbergasted, just kind of like
And also, no one else knows
beaten.
that like as far as I'm aware, Morthos would be asking about the Forge, not the World Spark. So specifically, the Forge has probably never been used to destroy anything.
Yeah, that's how I wanted my question to be heard, I guess.
Yeah. So specifically, the Forge probably not. And Archer would say as much. Like, as much as I know about the Forge, no, it's only ever been used to make things. Hell of a time to cast legend lore, Brian. Good choice.
Can we make a weapon to rule all weapons? Or make a weapon to rule the weapons that we have?
Norwin poured all of his cruelty and malice into
And
this weapon,
will
but
to
it was
dominate
really
all
tiny and
life.
weak because he didn't have a lot of cruelty or malice, and it was very disappointing.
I'm just kind of like
Yep.
I'm probably gonna faint even. Like I'm gonna roll to see if I faint. Actually.
Yeah, probably not a bad idea. It's a hell of a revelation. It's like it is peering into the abyss, and the abyss stares back into you. Like
You hear a booming echo back into your mind. 42.
Yeah, I faint.
Okay.
do you-
Norwin passes
Who's
out.
at the DC? What do you mean, Neve?
I got a 12 on a saving throw.
That you arbitrarily
feel
set
like-
the DC to something that you felt was appropriate. That's fine.
I figured at least 15.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, so no one passes out. Archer is like kind of taken aback, like,
I got him.
does he do this often?
Sometimes it happens. Sometimes.
I can heal him if
Yeah, I could too. As long as he doesn't turn into a flaming dragon, we're good.
I've seen weirder. Fair enough.
You sure you have?
Well, this is the forge, and just over there, and he kind of gestures to a door built into the mountainside. That is the reliquary. The forge, as I mentioned, is cold and has been for a while. Norwin, it looks like you... Was that legend lore I saw you cast?
I passed out, I thought.
Yeah. We can wake you up. Passing out doesn't
Just 'cause
last for very long.
Just because I'm like tired
Yeah.
from all that.
So you'll probably awaken pretty
that,
quickly, but you'll probably still be groggy. So like he'll ask you, but not know so much expect an answer.
I did that.
You have Ofrid. He kind of like comes to this realization. Of course. When I cast, I tried to do the same thing. When I tried to learn everything I could about the forge, it blocked me. It didn't want to be known.
It didn't want to be known.
No,
What do you mean?
I could feel the forge fighting back against my magic. It was hiding itself. It gave me some information, but not much, and I could tell just from the feeling I got in my mind that it wasn't everything. But with Ofrid,
it's a living thing.
It's a conscious thing. It has well, and this you also would have learned from legend lore. The World Spark does have a will of its own, but most often it chooses, like, it doesn't exert that will on the world. After the creation event, it effectively was like, I'm basically done. And mostly only responds when being used, which has only happened, again, a few times with like various gods being able to harness its power. But this is what we're here for, mainly. The reliquary. So Cranmore, the annulus should work.
All right.
If you'd like to give it a shot. Now, just to warn you, I cannot disarm the trials that are in place. They were designed such that even the ones to whom the weapon belonged could not just get past them, because Fronglathor, in his time, was he had a propensity for possession, take folks over and use their minds against them. So to guard against that, even we can't just go in. So be prepared.
I understand.
Alrighty.
I steel myself, my mind, and I center myself.
Centering
and walk purposefully.
Your inner peace. You bring yourself into a state of extreme calm, and you step forward towards this door. And as you get within maybe like 10 feet or so of it, you can feel magic beginning to sort of tingle around you. And you close your eyes and take a deep breath, and when you open them again, you are in an illusion. You know that it is not physically happening around you, but everything about it feels and seems real, like a lucid dream.
All right.
Your new reality is that you are in the midst of a vast battlefield. The battle around you is raging. but you and approximately 24 soldiers near you are in something of a lull. You have defeated the nearby enemies, and the battle is calm in your area. Your allies are hurt, not completely spent, but could very much use rest. They are panting and covered in mud and blood, but still alive, still able to move. And as you are taking stock of the battlefield and surveying, you see something that alarms you. Perhaps 200 or 300 yards away, you can see a house up against a cliffside, on basically the edge of the village in which this battle has taken place. In that house, there is a family, and you can see the mother kind of slamming the windows shut. In front of that house are more of your allies, but they are hopelessly outnumbered by an encroaching force that would outnumber both of you together, and also are sort of blocking you off from getting to these people. You would have to attempt to charge through their ranks to save them, and you would risk pretty much all of your people. There isn't really any other allied unit around, and the situation seems urgent. How does Cranmore react?
I put it to my men. The family needs us, and it's certain death. We may save some of them, but we have to try to get them out. It may at best be a moral victory. You may need to rest and fight another day, or you may join me as I charge forth to that house and family. Who's with me?
Well, if you're going, I'm not staying behind.
It's actually, the comrades are not you guys. They are other soldiers. The other Keepers of Fate are not in this scenario.
Ooh.
All right, Cranmore, as you might suspect, a good number of your men, being stalwart hearts and loyal to you, as you gather that you're kind of the commander in this situation, a good number of them pledge their lives to charge with you. A few of them, the younger and perhaps some of the more beaten up, given the choice, elect to stay behind. But still, most of your men will go with you.
I tell the ones that stay, find cover. If any survive, tend to them, and tell the story.
They nod
Those
gratefully.
The rest of you to me, and I charge the house.
Okay. As Cranmore and his few stalwart friends charge through the enemy lines to the house, the ranks of enemies fall inward towards the domicile and begin breaking the lines of your allied soldiers. About half of them turn back to face you. You and your compatriots manage to break through the initial line, but unfortunately, as you dive in, you are swallowed up by their overwhelming ranks. You see your friends falling around you, and the soldiers on the other side of the swarm of enemies do not fare much better. You have the consolation of looking into the faces of some of those who followed you, and even as they die, you do not see regret on their faces. They die warriors' deaths, as do you. Felled finally by several blades coming at you from all directions. The real Cranmore opens his eyes once again, and while your heart is racing, the rest of you is exactly as it was. You steady yourself, calm your breathing, and find yourself able to step forward and put the annulus into the door. The door accepts the key, and as a faint golden light begins to glow outward, the door opens, cracking in the middle, and the annulus kind of dissipating as it opens. The doors swing inward to reveal actually the final reliquary. Fun fact, the others found the 9th relic last session, so that'll be about to probably ping with you and strengthen your weapons yet again. We'll say that they're basically simultaneous because that'll make the most temporal sense, I think. Or at least that they're almost simultaneous. So, Cranmore, you're able to open the reliquary, and as you step inside, very like Arthurian, there is a sword embedded nearly to the hilt in a stone in the center of this cave. The cave itself is completely unlit, but for the light that now filters whence you came. It is the picture of austerity. And as you step forward and reach your hand forth, wrapping it around the hilt, you can feel the power of this blade kind of flowing into you. And as you respond with a flow of ki back out, the two meld as one. And you do not so much pull the sword from the stone as the sword morphs itself around and joins with you. How would you like it to join with you?
So the rest of you see me turn about, and you see the sword just sort of melt into my fur and flesh. You see, at first, a series of tattoos that glow and then dim. It's like inky patterns on me, and you can see some faint wrappings that match what was on the handle and of the blade that now are on my hands and hooves. This isn't so much it's not really a weapon necessarily. It's not necessarily a weapon.
No, indeed, not anymore.
And so what was a sword looks like it's just another couple of tattoos and fur and skin.
So do the tattoos still glow?
It became
No,
a part
so
of you?
they glued and then glowed and then dulled. And
Maybe.
they have their own.
And I'll
Yeah.
I'll suggest this. Maybe they glow when you strike.
So they might glow when I strike, but
Yeah,
right now it's
there
just
you go.
I basically absorb the thing onto my person. So
Yeah.
You can see it if you know to look at my hands, my body, my legs. You'll see that there's something there. I haven't hidden it. Like maybe maybe Morthos hid the axe to make it invisible. It's there. You could see it if you know what you're looking at, but it is not a thing that I'm wielding in my hand. It is. It absorbed into me, onto me.
Man, I was gonna wonder where you're gonna put the hilt.
Does the snap of the fingers thing that Morthos does, is that for all the legendary weapons?
No, that's just because he is a hexblade.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a packed weapon thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that was congratulations, you passed my version of the Kobayashi Maru.
Yeah, that was good. Like as you're describing it, like it's a no-win, so
Yep.
let's die well.
Yep. And that was a good answer. Putting it to your troops was especially a good thing. Very nice. All right. As you emerge back from the reliquary, Norwin, you've probably regained a bit of your composure at this point. So do you want to relay anything that you learned?
I will actually, yeah, I will. Oh goodness, so much, so much knowledge. The keystones. We need to get the keystones. That's
Those
how
eggs?
the only way we have a chance of what?
Those egg things.
Yes, the egg things.
Egg?
They're kind of egg shaped.
Okay.
Actually,
I didn't know that.
Norwin, if you are willing, Arthur kind of reaches a hand out to you, and you recognize the somatic components he's making with his hand as being calm emotions. Would you like him to cast calm emotions on you?
I give in.
Okay. He will put a hand on your shoulder, and you kind of feel the fervor and the panic of the moment kind of just ebb away. You kind of are able to take a deep breath and recenter yourself a bit.
Thank
Better?
you, Arthur. That's much better.
Glad to help.
The keystones, yes, the egg-shaped things. There's 4 of them missing. One in each cardinal direction on the God Forge.
Arthur kind of goes over and inspects the rim of it and says, as he kind of comes across it, he's like, I see. I figured that these were places to hold tools or something like that. I didn't realize that they were keys to actually making it work. That's very good to know.
We already have one.
Yeah,
Do you have
Cranmore
any idea where the others
procures
may?
another one, and you have 2. 2 down, 2 to go.
Oh,
Arthur, is there another one around? Or you know, have you seen one of these before? Where we might find another. Could this be the thing that the Watcher was talking about?
It could be. That's now what I'm thinking. If this thing was able to block my casting of legend lore, but was susceptible to Ofrid, and that I assume is because Ofrid is connected to it because it was made in the God's Forge. It might be that this thing within is powerful enough to alter the fate of the world, which would fit with what the Guardians say they're watching. So if it is that powerful, then, and I assume, I mean, you would know best of any of us now, Norwin. Is it that powerful?
it is that powerful and more.
So the Guardians aren't guarding a couple of friggin' islands, eh? They're guarding a forge.
It seems that way. Perhaps they have the last 2 keystones.
Or they know where they are.
Which is possibly why he was targeted for that heart creature.
It could be. Getting one of them to betray his oath. That could very well have given the enemy the edge. It's a good thing you stopped that before it could take hold of him completely. Gods only know
We
what could
should
have happened.
probably get back with the Watcher and see his brothers and
Agreed.
in connection to that.
Before we do that, though, I think it's time to lower the barriers. With the relic unleashed,
Like chaos.
aye. But hopefully, it'll be less an influx of chaos and more an outflowing of order. With any luck, I'll be able to do something about all
Hopefully.
this. There's only one way to find out.
And it's our only choice.
I think so. All right. Well, I hate to backtrack, but we'll need to go back to my home. The device that powers them, that focuses my strength to the island, is there. Actually, no, fuck it. That's unnecessary. That's DM shit. I'm just gonna bypass that and say he can do it at will. Because he's basically a god. Alright, so Arthur kind of crosses his hands over his chest and He takes a very long, deep inhalation. And as he exhales, he opens his arms before him, and you see this kind of like, it starts out as like a bright whitish yellow, but it actually dims and darkens as it spreads outward. And as it pushes out from him, uh, you can kind of see the very world like changes as these barriers are dropped. Um, these gorgeous, vibrant colors dim just ever so slightly. The grass is still healthy, everything is still beautiful, but it loses that supernatural quality to it as this barrier is broken down. As it reaches further and further out, you can see some of the uh, far off like mountains begin to actually crumble a little bit as though time is catching up with them in a short period. As it reaches the sky, which has up until now been beautiful, perfectly cloudless, and it only rains like no clouds when it rains. It just rains where it needs to. But as this barrier is broken down over the sky, you actually see the clouds that were mostly just more or less hidden appear once again in the sky, and the fog finally at the very edge of the horizon that you can see still kind of encircling the isles dissipates and clears. And you can see from your high vantage point on this mountain, you can actually see the shores of the main continent from where you are. It is
Whoa,
done.
buddy.
Well,
How do you feel, St. Arthur?
weak. Certainly weak. I think I need to sit down. He kind of, he kind of just like fall sits on the ground and kind of. That's very interesting. I can, I can feel things in the world, but nowhere near as strong as I could when it was just this island. Like before, I could feel each person on the isles. I could see them, understand what they were going through. Now I get a general sense, but there's so much more. It's like I can't focus. It's very strange. And I do feel,
Like trying to drink from a waterfall.
yes, and I do feel that encroaching chaos. It is powerful. And his final seal has been released. Pronglothor is going to come soon. Actually, no, he would say about to be released, because technically here, the 10th one still is sealed. We'll get there soon. Ugh. Alright. He kind of slowly, a little bit shakily, stands back up and says, "We'd best get to the Guardians."
Yes,
Alrighty.
with haste.
Uh, so you begin the journey south. Arthur, in fact, is a bit slower than you guys right now. He's pretty exhausted. Um, and at a certain point, he might actually like put a hand on Cranmore's shoulder and be like, "I hate to ask it, but could I sit atop your back?"
No problem. Do you need help staying astride?
No,
Staying atop?
I can manage that. Just maybe help getting up.
As I help him up, do I feel any kind of disease ailment, anything that I might heal him of or help him with?
He's just exhausted.
All right. All right, up you go. At this point, I'm starting to get some antlers he can hold on to.
Excellent. So whenever you're going over like a particularly bumpy patch, he'll like put a hand on an antler. Um, he is actually like as you are going, he is regaining strength, and you can kind of feel it happening. the ability to focus not on just like walking and instead to allow himself to kind of focus on restoring himself allows him to kind of accelerate that process. And so as you're traveling southward, you can feel him just beginning to get a little bit more healthy and hale. Um, but another interesting thing as you continue southward is that the colossi are not idle. The one that you had ridden is actually still in the channel, and you can see him in kind of waiting near the middle of the island. The others have come ashore as well, and are actually beginning to make their immense, slow strides, sort of in the same direction towards the middle of the island as well. The journey does, however, take several days. So it's like watching mountains move at a breakneck pace, but they're still mountains. And it takes you all a while to get there as well. But it seems like the best choice if you want to, gather with these colossi is to go where they all seem to be heading at the middle of this channel. So doing so, about 2 days in to your travel time, you see a brief bright flash of light on one of the teleportation towers. And Arthur kind of looks to it curiously and says, "We should go and check out who that was. Normally those towers are guarded. But, well, no one's been trained in... Pardon me, hold on. No one's been trained in guarding them in 300 years. That might be friend or it might be foe." So, are you all okay with diverting course, or do you want to split up, or do you want to just head? What do you want to do?
If you go check it out.
Yeah, I go check it out.
Okay. As you approach the tower, it was still a bit of a ways off from you, though less than a day's travel. So there's no one there when you arrive. But you could possibly, search it to see if they left behind any hint of who might have been there or what have you.
Yeah, I'd like to investigate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody, look around.
So make investigation checks and also Arcana checks, if you are so inclined for Arcana.
I got a 19 on
Got us.
investigation and on Arcana.
I'm not even
19
gonna
on the-
bother.
I got a
2 4s. I don't think I passed.
Oof. Farkin is looking around, and he just kind of gets distracted by how cool the tower is and like the shiny runes that are on the teleportation circle. He just kind of gets distracted reading them. So sorry, was a 19 on investigation and a what for Cranmore?
I didn't even bother because I'm crap at investigation and Arcana checks.
Oh, okay. Oh, so it was
I
a
was like,
19
I'm on
for
the ride at this
Morthos.
point.
Was it a 19 for Morthos that I heard?
yeah.
Gotcha.
And 19 investigation, 8 Arcana.
8 Arcana. All right, and Norwin?
I got a 15 investigation and a 7 Arcana.
Oof. All right. So unfortunately, while the tower does have a way to, I won't say it's like a travel log, but it does have like a sort of a magical memory, for lack of a better word. None of you are quite able to figure out how to access it.
Okay.
And as far as like physical investigation, Morthos is able to find something. Morthos, you actually see a little bit of ash and soot that's kind of smeared across the handrail in a small portion, like near the top of the stairs, and kind of taking it up in your hands and rubbing it between your fingers and kind of giving it like a slight sniff. The smell of it is weirdly familiar. Um, you can't place it perfectly, but like this sense memory comes back to you of being in Lila.
When we first got there, when it was kind of like a bit broken down, or
A bit later. And in fact, as you kind of dwell on it, it seems like maybe it was during the battle with the Danish soldiers that approached that this is coming back to you.
This might be what's that guy's name? Vrontok?
No, that was the demon lord. Vaken is who you're thinking of.
Who's a
Jasna's
V?
brother.
Right.
It could be. Who knows?
Dun dun dun.
So that is all you get while you are there. But at least of the investigation.
Can I read the ruin stones? They tell us where it's connected to, right?
So the rune stones around the circle are that location, and then the runes that are like inscribed on the pedestal or the dais in the middle, like those are, I guess it's more like a podium actually. Those are the locations you can travel to. So it's like a menu basically. You can read them and you can see that like they are all of the locations that you saw before, but this one is of course absent. And the other one on the Shrouded Isles is also there and lit up. Like before, it was kind of dull, like it couldn't be accessed. Now it can be accessed.
Enabled.
Yep. DLC unlocked, and you didn't even have to pay for it. Comments about a certain company that makes games withheld.
Can
games.
we? So we could probably assume some maybe Vacan came through, but are there any tracks or anything like that leading off to any direction?
So not that you can tell on the tower, but as you get to the base, you can definitely make survival checks to try and track him.
I would like to do that.
Okay.
I think that's a good idea.
I got a 25.
Damn. Okay. Yes, you are definitely able to track him with a 25. Like he was trying to be sneaky, and it's Cranmore is just like, I got you, whatever. This doesn't matter. Sneaky schmeaky, and just easily is able to find and follow Vacan's footprints. Possibly somewhat disturbingly, they're going the same direction that you were going, towards the center of the island and that channel.
Be funny if we looked up and we saw him brushing with a broom, his footprint like moving backwards.
Well, this is awkward.
Oh no!
Bacon.
The wizard that you all fought when the Danish troops first came to challenge you at Lila. Jasna's brother.
Oh, right.
That asshole.
That dick.
He was an asshole. Just outright jerk.
All right, so I say it's where we needed to go originally. It's where he's heading, and we need to catch up to him.
Sounds reasonable. Okay. Give me a sec here. Ooh. I need to do a bit of rearrangement. So let's actually take an intermission here. I think this is a good place to take like 5 or 10 minutes, and we'll come back to it in a few.
Nice. Cool.
Alrighty.
Cool. Cool.
Now we're back.
Would you lie to me?
I did. I lied. I'm a lying bitch. I'm sorry. Alrighty. So, I've got this sorted back out. Alrighty. So, you are traveling towards these giants, hot on the trail of who you believe is Vaken, Jasna's estranged brother, and an evil wizard whom you have fought before in the Siege of Lila. As you are traveling, the giants make immense strides, and in fact, one of them passes you as it is going towards the center. You are still perhaps 2 days from this gathering of colossi. You do not. You take rests when it is appropriate, believing that Vaken will also do so. But and on the second day, you would see evidence of his campsite in his tracks. But otherwise, you are spending your time traveling after him, making sure that you are keeping on his trail. Cranmore, I would like you to make 2 more survival checks for me to keep up with his trail.
Okay. Okay, that's an 18. And then a 24.
Okay, both of those are good enough. So, you keep his trail the entire time that you travel, and as you get nearer and nearer to the shore, it's clearer and clearer that he is headed for this gathering of giants the same as you were. Maybe he knew about it ahead of time somehow, or maybe he came here and saw the colossi moving towards it and decided that was the place to go. You'll have to ask him in person. Eventually, you finally make it to. Eventually, you make it to the shore of this channel, and the giants are all gathered around there. Saint Arthur casts tongues and amplifies his voice to speak to them. And Norwin, if you'd like to cast tongue to be able to understand the response, or you can wait for him to relay it to you. Anybody
What
else?
is he
I think.
speaking it in?
Well, he's talking
In
in
if he
common.
but he casts tongues on himself, right?
Yes, so you can understand him.
Everybody can understand him.
Right, but you won't be able to hear the giant's response unless you cast tongues on yourself. Well, you'll hear it, but you won't understand it.
Oh. Okay. Wait, it's in Undercommon?
No, giant.
Oh,
Sorry, I
okay.
said understand.
Yeah.
Probably cut out there for a brief moment, and it sounded like undercommon.
Then yeah, I'll cast tongues on myself.
Okay. All right. So you hear Arthur ask effectively, like, what are you gathered for? What's going on? And the Watcher kind of looks down, and so it is at this point, I guess I should describe. 2 of the giants are standing in the channel. Their heads significantly down below the other 2. The other 2 are on either shore. Again, sort of mirroring a compass, north, south, east, and west. Each of them have their 2 arms just kind of spread downward at an incline, like holding them out towards the middle of this gathering. The Watcher, without
Who's doing that?
all 4 of them.
Oh.
Without moving his arms, the Watcher kind of turns his head to look to Arthur, and in Giant simply says, "It is time. Our time has come."
Oh.
As Cranmore, you're following these tracks to the shore, you lose them as they head into the water. It is not a quick thing that these colossi do, but over the next few hours, you can kind of hear this faint thrumming This faint, low sound that
Wait.
just.
I'm if they're if the colossi are like going away, I'm gonna try to communicate with them again.
They are not going away. They are standing
Oh,
stock
okay.
still where they are. But there's this like low tonal pulsing sound that uh, it kind of comes from them, but because they're so large and resonant within, it just kind of fills the region. And over these couple of hours, it gets louder and louder until it's this. I wouldn't say it's like painfully loud, but it is just an ever-present sound. And then finally, all at once, they come to life and begin moving once more, each of them kind of lifting upward with their arms. And as they do so, the channel itself, like the water of the channel, begins to shift and flow and coalesce upward into this immense orb. And at its height, this orb is like probably half submerged in the water and jutting out by maybe 300 or 400 feet into the air. The colossi then collapse their hands into like a fist, and the water all at once kind of splashes inward and recedes into the water. But where this orb was is now an immense leviathan. Likely one of the creatures that you heard of that was that lurks in the channel and makes it a dangerous place to be. This creature is now like most of its body is above the surface, and strangely, it does not seem to be violent in any way. It is just there. It's terrifying because it is huge and horrifying looking. But it's not doing anything right now. And as you look on in awe and watch, slowly it begins opening its mouth. And it almost, like, this creature's biology is such that it could almost open like 180 degrees.
Oh.
It's not just like a giant fish, and it's not like a kraken. It's like this very strange, like otherworldly type creature. It has scales like a fish, but the head is like more of a protrusion than a separate appendage. So it opens almost 180 degrees till it's like this. And you can see on the inside is another giant creature. Sitting on its, what you assume is a tongue, is a giant clam. And the Watcher actually turns towards you, and you hear him say in giant Norwin, "Go."
Go where?
He looks at the Leviathan.
Into the clam.
He nods.
He wants us to go into the clam.
Do we have a boat? Can we get over in that thing?
That's a long way.
It is a long way, but one of you can now cast Levitate at will.
Not it. I can make you guys pretty mellow about what you're seeing.
I flap my wings.
Yeah, Farkin, you can now cast Levitate at will, so you could just like let everybody basically go there without problems.
Well, I have to concentrate on it, and I
Nope.
can't
You sure don't.
win. What? Levitate's a concentrate spell, I thought.
Not with the relic, it's not.
Oh, okay. So we do the thing because everybody else seems to be. All right, you can all levitate now.
These are powerful weapons.
Levitate doesn't really help us in this case, though.
Doesn't it? Can't you
Levitate's
still
not
move?
fly.
Can't you still move though?
I can move you up and down.
Oh, it's only up and down. Ah, then never mind. It doesn't help that much.
Like it's levitate. So the idea that it's like a weaker version of fly, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have full movement. Like I can kind of,
Uh,
and usually, every time I've used levitate in the past, it's always like DM'd to, generically up and down. If you're going, 10 or 15 feet, either way, who gives a crap?
That's fair, yeah. No, you're right. Okay, so there's still a problem to solve here with how you're getting there.
Okay, so everybody is hovering now.
Jasna's donkey makes a cameo and just kind of floats across the landscape in front of you.
I wings.
It goes in the
I
X
use my
direction.
wings to corral everybody, and
Yeah.
get them going in the right direction.
Well, no, just you be our tugboat.
Yeah.
I like it.
We're all tie a rope around Norwin's waist, and we all hold on. And
I like
he's
it.
our tugboat.
Exactly.
Yep, I like it. All right. So
Let's
as you're levitating, you're lighter than air, so you won't fall. So like Norwood could just pull you through, and air resistance is not that great. So he just flies himself, and you follow along behind him. And this little rope train of heroes flies
It's like
over.
a clown pulling a bunch of balloons.
I love it.
Yeah. I'm afraid.
What a great idea. Yeah, so Farkin kind of yelling this idea out, gets rope and ties everybody together, and you have a little hero subway going over to this giant clam. I love that visual.
You see, Farkin's not a super high fantasy guy.
Nope, it's great.
Just honk honk, float the tugboat.
Okay, as you alight on the Leviathan's tongue and approach the clam, it is not yet open, but as you approach, the colossi all at once speak a word, and it is very simply the word for open. But it is not in Giant. It is actually in Eltaran, which none of you, I think, speak. So you don't know.
I almost chose that like 20 minutes ago, or right before we started.
Nice.
I noticed I was missing a language option on my character sheet.
Nice.
I keep
You
wondering
actually.
what Voltron has to do with
So
it.
I think it might be there because I did homebrew stuff with it, but you actually can't take it as a language, because it's specific to this
Oh.
world, and it's the one from like before the Scouring. You'd have to do some very specific in-world actions to learn it.
I see.
So I'm glad you didn't take it. You could have taken Terran, which would be totally fine. But
I took
Eltaran is
Undercommon.
nice.
I keep wondering what Voltron has to do with it. But
Wait, where did I? You've made this reference before, and I can't remember where he comes in here.
the planet they're from is Altera, and they speak Alteran.
Oh, huh. Nice. That's awesome. All right. Yes. So, as they speak, sorry, I was forgetting where I was. As they speak this command word, the clam relaxes the muscles that keep its shell shut tight, and mirroring the opening of the Leviathan's maw, it opens out wide, and within it is a large black orb. It looks like maybe a black pearl from afar, but as you get closer, it is actually made of marble. So,
So want to take that? Oh, God,
What?
sorry to get.
That's for the dog.
oh my god, that's horrifying! What is that from?
I love it. So does someone want to grab that pearl thing?
Oh my gosh. Oh man, I clicked on another thing and it freeze framed at like the worst moment, with her mouth all the way agape. It's horrible.
I think you should grab the orb, Grandmore.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, as you go to grab the orb, you are intercepted by a small ray of fire that is shot from an unknown source. It does not actually hit you, but it sears between you and the orb, and you hear a voice, a familiar voice, sound from the other side of the Leviathan's tongue, and it goes, "That's gonna be mine by the end of the day."
Why do you want it so badly?
Why ever
Maybe
you
that-
want it, that's why I want it.
Maybe
that
Megan's shoes.
Yes, this is Vacan.
We don't even know why we want it.
All the better if I can figure it out before you.
Yeah,
You're an idiot.
I'd like to try to grab it again and get out of here. Is there something stopping me from moving normally?
No, but he might cast another spell if you attempt to
Wait,
do it.
But are we still in the air? Or are we
You
on the clam?
Touched down on the
Like,
clam.
Yeah, I assume we landed.
Okay.
You might still have levitate active.
still-
It doesn't stop you from being.
I'm still flying around. I'm not sitting down on this clam. I don't know when it's gonna close its mouth.
That's fair. The clam is not so large as to require you all to be on it. It's both like the Leviathan's tongue is what most of you are standing on.
Can I see Vacan?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to counsel peace.
Okay.
And this tells me that Toy can automatically succeed on it. So instead of rolling with advantage,
Whoa.
I'm just gonna go with the automatic
There you go.
succeed this time. And say, hey, I don't know what your motivation where the hostilities coming from here. I mean, I guess I kind of know because you did explain yourself last time we met, but I don't think all that hostility is necessary. We're in the gaping maw of this Leviathan, which kind of boggles the mind and tests one's sanity. And maybe we can resolve this over at the shoreline and talk it out normally. But first, let's just get this thing, eh?
He kind of he looks down around him almost like noticing his surroundings for the first time as you point them out. And he looks back at you and he's like, but
I mean, this shit is bananas, yo.
I mean, you're not wrong, but the King of Dane, he told me that he needed this. And it...
Yeah, but
The King of Dane.
do you need it? Are you living your life to enrich somebody else? What about bacon?
I spit. The King of Dane is no king at all.
Chill, Norwin. It's okay. Right now, let's just take this thing. We'll all go as a friendly group back to the shoreline with it. Bacon, you come with us. And we'll talk it out over there, okay?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, sure.
And if you're not satisfied, we can fling fire spells then.
I guess it'll be a little less unstable on the shore if we're gonna fight. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Okay, come with me, man. And I pick up the whatever the thing, and I bring Bacon over like hop on, buddy.
No. Okay. I don't normally do this, but I'm not gonna let that be the way this happens.
Okay.
You take the thing, and then he kind of takes out his own rope and like ties it to the back end of your train, and he'll fly along with you.
I turn off levitate.
Yes.
He just drags along. Wait, this
Halfway
isn't what I
back,
agreed to.
Halfway back, I turn off levitate for him.
Oh, now he's a damp gnome. Very soggy.
I only got a 14 strength check.
He's a gnome. He weighs like 40 pounds. You're fine. Like, no one else is contributing to your carrying capacity, and he's not going to make you exceed it.
Oh, I thought he said he turned off levitate on everybody.
No, just
No,
on
no,
just
just
on
for the
Bacon.
Oh, okay.
If it was everybody, you'd all fall
Dude,
like
I'm
rocks.
Yeah. I'm
There
calling.
wouldn't even be a check
There's
for
no
that.
way.
That'd just be you're trying to carry 2 tons. No. Um. But no, it's just for
So
him.
I'm
So
gonna go back.
you
I'm
have a
gonna make a
damp
little
gnome.
conversation. I want to make a little conversation with them on the way back. Like, hey, did you run into your sister at all? How
Oh, I haven't seen her.
well, that tells us she's okay, I guess.
Are we flying low? Is he getting crashed into by the waves?
Yeah, he's getting some water.
Oh,
I'll go higher.
All right. So you pull him out of the water. You make it back to shore. He gets a little bit of a rougher landing than everybody else, but he brushes it off, and because of the magic of your relic, he just goes, yeah, I guess I deserved that from last time. Ugh. Ow. Kind of rubs a sore shoulder.
oh, are you hurt?
Not bad. Just.
Okay.
Okay. So, can I have that now?
Well, we kind of need it. What are you gonna do with it? You're just gonna give it to somebody?
I mean, I was gonna
You're
try
just gonna
and
give it to the king.
gonna try and figure out what it does.
Well, it looks pretty.
Well,
does.
if that's your true
Right,
intent,
lovely on
we
it.
can work together.
Looks good on a mantle.
Well, I mean, if I'm being completely honest, I want to figure out what it does so that the king can use it.
Can you hold this real quick, please?
Hold what? What are you offering him?
This.
It's a quarterstaff looking thing.
Is it your weapon?
Yes.
Okay. He takes it, and it kind of pushes itself out of his hands. But if you want it to be the immovable rod, you have like
Yeah.
a moment to activate it.
I wanted to hand him to. I wanted to hand it. I wanted to hand it to him, and then immediately immovable rod him.
Okay, yeah. So it's it kind of like pushes him back, and he's like held up on, probably I guess against the ground. Like, oh, that's heavy.
Not
Ow.
enough to kill him.
Yeah, of course. Okay. All right. This is fine.
So we're gonna take the sword, right?
Wait, what?
Take the what now?
We're taking the
Sword?
pearl.
Oh, the pearl.
Pearl. There you go.
Sorry, it's pearl. That's what I meant.
We take the shiny, yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I don't need it. Why?
You're
Can you move
I
this off of
feel
me?
like I'd like to leave him with something. Um,
Look,
I-
I might be able to help
Maybe
you figure out what's in it if.
All right.
let us confer.
Okay, I'll sit here. You go ahead.
so what's the? Why do you want to help the King of Dane of all people? Is there
Are
some?
you asking him?
Yeah, I'm asking. I'm asking Markin. Is there some power he's promised you?
Look,
It's because he's a gnome.
when Jasna and I, hey, when Jasna and I
Harkin.
were little, it was always, it wasn't just her, right? We had a bunch of brothers and sisters, and it was almost like halvesies, right? Like mom and dad really loved half of us and really didn't care about the other half, and it got
Half
to the
of
point
each of
that,
you?
give or take, There were a lot of us. It was hard to keep tabs. And, you know, when I was born, one of the others was already an adult, so I didn't really know him very well. Family things. Anyway, I'm not
I
asking
see.
for a pity party over my sad childhood, but the effect of it was when I learned that I could do magic, I didn't want I didn't want to be looked over. I didn't want to be ignored. And the King of Dane was the first person who really came to me and recognized what I could do. And this was, you know, before all of this new crap with Erevar and whatnot. And he made me feel seen. He made me feel like I was worth something. And when he started to change, I I talked to him and I tried to understand what he wanted. And it seemed it seemed attractive. There was this idea that once the war was over, once we had won, that there would be this unity, that there would be this uh, this gathering, like this whole collection of people. And he told me that I would be his chief mage forever. And so I saw a world where every magic user learned from me and, you know, respected me, knew me.
Well, you certainly earned a kind of respect from us by the by your showing of power last time we met. That was impressive. Um, but what we've seen of the King of Dane is sort of a hollow thing. We see him replacing flesh and blood people with hopes and dreams with these wraith hearts. It's a he's going to be a king of dirt.
You and I have very similar childhoods and have wound up on opposite sides of the coin here. When people offer absolute promises, you, you don't want to fall into those traps.
I I am starting to realize what you're saying is true. It does seem like there's no way this ends well, but at the same time I feel like I found a place. I I don't think it's a good place, but it's mine.
Well, I have a counter. I know this is a very rough time. Things are coming to a head. But may I make a suggestion? There is a certain person here that you might want to meet, and he can probably tell you a thing or two about this pearl and what it is. He's been living
The
on this
saint.
isle, the saint, and he is. I think he'd also have a great deal of respect for your power, and maybe even able to show you a few things that you can do with your magic that maybe the King of Dane didn't know about. Give you a little more. He might be able to offer you a few more things, give you a little more strength, but also give you some direction with it that is self-fulfilling, self-actualizing.
So the first
Yeah.
persuasion check has kind of worn off. You can use the second charge, or you could just make a persuasion check with advantage.
I'm gonna go for a persuasion check with advantage.
Okay.
I feel like that's fair. $23.
Kind of pauses for a moment, and he thinks to himself, and he says, "But I've done I've done terrible things. I was the one who helped make those wraith engines. I I've hurt people. I attacked you guys. I
You may be exactly the kind of person that we want to have around. You may know how to unmake a Wraith engine.
But do you
Or-
think I could ever come back from all of that?
Well, this is a good place to find find out. You're always the king of your own destiny. And to quote a line from a poem here, sinners and saints are all welcome within.
Wow. Well, I don't know if I'll succeed, but I'll give it a shot. Okay.
We point him in the direction of the saints, and I tell him, "Good luck on your pilgrimage."
Yep. Alrighty. So,
Man, I hate fire spells.
all right. Not the way I expected that to go. Nicely done. Excellent. So, what are you all doing at this point? You have the this marble orb that does not look like a keystone.
Well, if he's walking away, I'm not talking to trash about the gnomes anymore, but I'm trying to be polite, so I was standing a little ways away.
That's fair. Excuse me.
Just real clear, Farkin. It's not that I hate fire spells. It's I hate being set on fire. Seems to keep happening.
Is this something about you?
Yeah.
Maybe it's the chest hair.
Yo soy en fuego.
Alrighty. So what are you all doing? Are you also going back to Arthur to try and get the orb? Like, see if he knows anything about it,
Yeah,
or could figure
Seems
anything
like
out?
I guess. I mean, I'm gonna try. Actually, I'm trying to talk to these beasts around me, and
Okay.
like, what is this?
They respond to you, and they basically they say it's what we were told to guard. The time seems right to unveil it. But they don't seem to know like details about what it is. Their creator didn't tell them.
Then how do you know it's time?
The world is changed. Different.
You feel it.
It is on the verge of something immense.
Can we bring it to the God Forge? Does it fit somewhere in there, Norwin?
Do I know that?
It did not come up in your legend lore.
Okay. I don't know.
How big is this thing?
Yay big. Palantir sized, but it's not a Palantir.
Like a watermelon.
Yay.
Okay.
Is it similar to the title orb I have?
A little bit. You can see sort of those currents shifting underneath of its surface.
What is that thing you have?
Can I see it? Can I see it?
Farkin has WMDs. Don't worry about it.
Alright, will you give it to him, Norwin?
Is that for?
Or Cranmore?
I think I'll
Cranmore took it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Spread it over.
Cranmore has it.
Sorry. Yes.
Give it back to him.
Alright.
I don't know what to do. Fine.
So I am going to just kind of, pet it, kind of rub it, and focus on it like I do my title orb to see if it reacts to me trying to channel my wild magic.
Roll on the wild magic surge table, my friend. Because it does.
Please be unicorn. Please be unicorn.
Oh.
Hello, Rashido.
Dang. There we go. Yeah. Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? I always forget to keep this thing open.
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't come up every session either.
It's like one of my top searches. I keep searching for the damn table. And it's a 36. Yeah. Well, that's going to be interesting.
Oh boy.
It's not too bad.
Does anything like visual happen as?
Well, yeah, I mean,
Okay, cool.
not really a whole lot visual happens. I'm a year younger now.
Oh,
A year younger?
I'm a full year younger.
you get like Farkut's hair like kind of grows out a little bit and like gets a little like it's not like it was gray, but it gets a little bit more color. Some lines vanish from his face.
Yeah, a year's worth of lines.
Yep. It's been a
Well-
hard year.
Yeah,
You got kidnapped. I mean,
I feel kind of good right now.
Fair.
I hand it back, I guess, and say that's a nice stone.
Yeah,
as
seems-
it surged, you actually did briefly get a glimpse of more than just what's on the surface. You can actually see that in this thing, sealed away, is another entry stone. Like there's the Leviathan, there's the clam, and then there's this third, like Matryoshka level of protection.
So before I hand it back, I start freaking out a little bit. Smash it!
Are you sure?
I saw the thing.
What
It's
thing?
inside.
It's inside the keystone.
It's inside.
I smash it.
Okay.
Okay. Alright, Cranmore, like, rears up on his hind legs and slams two hoofs down into it, and it does nothing.
What?
Okay.
Come on, let me try. What's going on over here? You don't believe me?
The keystone might need to be coursed out.
I touch it.
I mean, that is a magic attack if that makes a difference.
It does not make a difference, but it is a magic attack. I am well aware.
Okay.
As you all are...
I touch it.
Okay. Any special way, or are you just tapping it?
I touch it and I like try to feel like intuit what it is magically, like what's happening.
I'll give you a chance. Make an Arcana check for me.
Okay.
I like it when you tell me to smash things, Farkin.
Oh, 14.
Nope, no idea.
Yeah.
Use your cool new hammer.
I touch it with my axe.
Nothing.
What if we all touch it at the same time?
Yeah, I've touched my
Don't cross
weapon
the
here.
streams, Cranmore.
Don't cross the streams.
We all touch
You
the
all,
tips of
you
it.
all
and-
touch your tools together on the surface of the orb, and
Why did the heroes cross the streams?
still nothing, actually.
Man, now I just feel like an a-hole.
It's definitely inside there.
I cast Dispel Magic on it. 6th level, I think. I don't know what do I have now. At least 5th.
You might be 6th at this point.
6. Yeah, I have a 6th level.
Cool. Nothing.
Maybe some reverse psychology. Like, you know what I don't want to do is meet whatever's in this thing. We should just leave it. We should just dig a hole and stick it in the hole, and leave it unmarked and go get sandwiches.
It briefly laughs at you. No, I'm kidding.
So, well,
There's no
I hand it
response.
back to you. I pull out my other orb and I hold it next to it and try and
Orb
squeeze
envy.
out.
Look at my pretty orb. That's a pretty, isn't that pretty orb? You wanna come get it?
The orb envy does not seem to work.
Oh,
What exactly
I
is inside that we
The
see
entry
swirling
stone.
about? Yeah.
I cast True Seeing on myself.
Okay. You
Do you
are
want the
able
text?
to see the entry stone inside of it. There does not seem
Okay.
there is no with your true sight way of opening this orb.
Huh.
Maybe we should take it back to St. Arter. He might know.
Where's the freaking orb?
All right. Is
Well.
that the thought?
Yeah.
Okay. So, as you take
Wait,
it
what are we
back,
doing?
taking it
we're
back
we're
to
going
the
to
Saint.
St. Augustine.
I do so very
Okay.
grumpily, though. I'm very snarky now.
Farka kind of like tosses it and I'm like, you try it. See if you can do anything with it.
You guys believe me?
So as
Okay, I cast.
yeah,
What about Find the Path?
read the text to me.
This spell allows you to find the shortest, most direct physical route to a specific fixed location that you are familiar with on the same plane of existence. So
It would
to
just
the
lead you
center
to
of
the
the
object.
sphere. No, to the center of the sphere inside of it.
The spell fails.
Like, does it spell fails? Interesting. Okay.
Is this thing on the same plane of existence
Out
as
of the
us?
orb?
Maybe, maybe not.
What did you say, Morthos?
Interesting.
Nothing.
That's
Never.
all my six.
But okay, as you present it to Arthur, he takes it and says, "I will do what I can. It's be a tough nut to crack, no pun intended, but I might be able to figure something out. In the meantime, apparently there's some people waiting for you at the southern shore.
What type of people?
There were names thrown about. Daryl was one of them. Some people who call themselves Hilla's Myrmidons.
Daryl.
Yeah, I.
Oh,
And Yelena and Bertram Stargrove.
the Stargroves are here.
Elena.
I remember this
Interesting.
Star Gross from a long time. That was like a year ago.
Yes,
We helped their
When-
town.
when I was possessed by Malaraxis.
That's right. I wonder how they're getting on with the kobolds.
Seems like you could go ask.
Let's do that.
Seems like they're getting along well enough if they're here together.
Indeed.
I'm down.
You
Let's
can
get there
take
quickly.
you can take one of the that tower that's close by. It goes to the south. It connects to the one on the south. That's probably your quickest way. And I'll be here when you're ready to come back.
That sounds like a
How
plan.
much time? How much time has passed since like we were flying and stuff?
Couple of days, because it takes like 2 days to
Okay.
get back to the mountain.
Okay.
So we've had rests again.
Yeah, for sure. Alrighty, so going back to the tower and transporting yourselves to the southern shore, there is once again festivities going on in the town. While not quite as grand as the ones that were thrown for you, the townsfolk seem very happy to receive friends of who they perceive to be, effectively their heroes, their saviors. Not quite saviors. They'd probably put Arthur more at that level, but close enough. Among the festivities, you indeed see 3 of the Myrmidons, Zephilla, Fanilla, and Corilla, as well as Daryl, who is drawing quite a bit of attention, being probably the first kobold any of these people have seen, and kobolds being significantly different from, like, elves and other humanoids. It's like, whoa! The Stargroves are also about, although they being a little bit more of a posh family, they aren't mixing quite as much. They're speaking with the townspeople like in a friendly way, but they're kind of like sipping wine in a corner table instead of like outright mingling.
I'm gonna go right to Daryl and give him a big old greeting. Daryl, I
right.
haven't seen you forever.
Daryl like leaps up and takes the embrace wholeheartedly, and he's like, "Man, I have met so many cool people. You would not believe it."
Oh yeah, same here. You wouldn't believe all the interesting people I've met. Well, I want to hear you go first. Hopefully we have a lot of time to catch up.
Oh yeah.
I want to hear everything.
So, all right. After so Daryl was with Azu. The last time you all met him was there.
We covered Lila.
He
Yeah.
told you about the stuff with Vrontalk, right?
That was right before Vrontalk, I thought.
Was that
It was before the end of Vrontalk, but it was not all of it.
Right.
But
Yes.
he also would have been there at the final battle, so he could tell you about that too. So, wow. So I know before, like the last time we saw you, I told you about the kobolds that I was able to like, gather together, and we were fighting against the Church of the Gathering Storm, and we made a lot of good progress. But you know, we're kobolds. We aren't strong enough to take on a demon lord. But you know what was crazy? After you guys left, we went and we went to rejoin that fight, and this crazy strong, like almost godlike dude came out of nowhere and just started beating up this demon. Like we were kind of on the outskirts, like getting close, but not really diving into the heart because we didn't want to die. But man, the battle that this guy, oh, it was like the whole world shook and lightning and thunder were crashing everywhere. It was crazy. And then another one came. This one was like a fire lady with these big flaming wings. And holy cow, they were really strong. And you know, we kobolds, we were helping out. We were making sure that none of the others, like the priests and the lower guys, could get in. But those two, they really stole the show. They whooped his ass. It was crazy. Anyway, so all that
Your
happened.
telling of it is much more dramatic than Azarath's telling of it.
Wow.
Wow.
Wait, is that who's that?
She'd be the fire lady.
Whoa, you know her?
Yeah.
Manner.
That's so
Yeah.
cool. She's insane. She's really strong. Anyway, then there was like this big chasm that opened up. Like the whole ground just fell into it. And there was this big waterfall because like the river was right up against the hole. And when the hole fell in, it kind of like the water all fell like diverted into it. And it was really cool, but really scary. And then after that, well, most of the
Did
kobolds
the
were
hole
like,
close back?
no, I think, well, maybe it has since. I don't know. Uh, but yeah, so most of the kobolds, I guess, were kind of like, oh well, we're done here. We've done everything we can. So I guess they went back to their own warrens. And then I went back to Allerton and met up with the Stargroves again. You know, a bunch of the kobolds who stayed behind were still doing really well, and it seemed like everybody was pretty happy there, except for you know the whole war going on. But that, well, I don't know. I'm not that good at human politics. They might be better to ask about that part.
Did you come across any golden dragons?
Uh, yeah, I did. Uh, well, come across is a strong wording for it, but one of them, two, three of them kind of flew overhead as I was going back towards Aladdin. and it wasn't. There were 3 golds, a bunch of silvers, and some copper and bronze and brass as well.
How long ago was that now? Weeks
Uh,
ago?
5 days.
Recent.
We
Okay.
took the big glowy towers to get over here, and
Mhm.
then when we got to Lila, we took a boat up to the shore here. I heard about your city, and it's really cool.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
the mayor's here. I hope it's being run okay.
Oh, she left it in capable hands. I don't think it's not like we've been gone for long.
Morthos, do you have anything to add or ask about?
How are your conversations with Alatin going? I know we had talked about our communication across the lines to help the front against the King of Dane.
Yeah, yeah, you're gonna want to talk to the Stargroves about that bit. They're gonna know more than me. But from what I gather, it's good.
You've been receiving my correspondence and pamphlets.
Yep, absolutely. And we've handed them out. I don't. It doesn't seem like they've been super needed the last few days, but they definitely helped before then. Definitely.
Fantastic.
Alrighty. At this point, like Daryl is kind of swept away by some of the other towns, like actually some of the children in the town who are like very excited to dance with him, and they kind of pull him away into like this big sort of not line dancing, like a like a quick step kind of dance. And he is yeah, so he's distracted now. And do you guys want to talk to the Illas or the Stargroves?
Suppose I'd want to have a word with the Stargrove.
Sure. So they see you coming up, and they pull out another glass, and they pour you a glass of wine, and set it down across the table. Uh, and Yelena, what was her? I don't even remember her voice. That was a while ago. I'm just gonna do a random voice. Oh, Morthos, so good to see you again. It's been quite some time.
Yeah, how are things going?
Very, very well. I'm really glad we caught you here and kind of surprised. We only landed a few hours ago and were told you weren't around.
We were north of here.
And came south quickly. Impressive. Well, at any rate, yes, I felt like we wanted to see you again, make sure everything was well, and report some rather good news. So of course, you were sending the pamphlets around and getting literature distributed that would sow some insurrection among the Danish
Yep.
soldiers. Well, it worked astoundingly well. So much so that there are almost no Danish soldiers in the traditional sense anymore. There's been a enormous uprising. Excuse me. Sorry. There has been an enormous uprising. Goodness, the last 2 weeks I think have seen almost every single Danish soldier defect, except for those at the highest levels. Uh, they have not only stopped fighting for Dane, but they've actually begun joining the Aravari military and fighting with them. In fact, not long ago there was an immense clash just to the west of Tolisker, It took out a huge, huge amount of the Wraithhearts in the army, as well as several, as astonished as I am even still to say it, chromatic dragons were felled during this battle, with the help of
Wow.
not a few metallics. To hear the stories told from those who witnessed the battle or who heard of it secondhand, it was an incredible sight to behold.
Fantastic. That's what we like to hear.
Indeed, and the unfortunate side of the coin is that while there are no human soldiers left in Dane's army, there is certainly no shortage of Wraithhearts. Whatever the military was doing to spawn them, it's gotten better at it.
They have a machine.
Possibly more than one.
Hmm.
They call it an engine.
That is not good, but at least now we're only dealing with one kind of enemy, and not two.
We need to find where the source of that engine is, so we can maybe get a spy or two in there to disrupt its manufacturing.
See what I can do.
I always appreciate your help.
Indeed, I wonder if there might be somewhere that they are targeting with these engines. If they are mobile, I'll see if I can find anything out about strategic locations Dane might wish to target.
Morthos, you may want to talk to the Illis about this too. The engines. They heard rumor that there was a spy that saw one of these, and so Corilla may have more information about them.
I'll make sure to talk with her then as well. Perhaps we can trade information, as it were.
Yes.
Awesome. So Yelena kind of downs the rest of her glass of wine, and before she stands up to go, and then doubles back and says, "Oh, and one other thing, Morthos. When this is all over, I think there's a good number of people in Dane who might be very interested about your ideas for the country's future. Just a thought."
I would much like to be a part of that conversation.
You want to lead that conversation? You are the conversation.
She takes her leave after that.
So we talked to Corilla and Zilla.
Yeah, the Illas are in lively participation in some of the evening's entertainment. They are dancing to the somewhat decent music of the local bardic troops. And at one point, Corilla actually asks for one of the bard's lutes and plays a number herself that the other two dance to. You see one of the tattoos on Finilla's arm glowing as she dances. As they complete
Glowing.
their as they complete their movements, they kind of settle down to take a moment's rest, and that is when you spy a chance to go over and make your conversation.
Love the tattoos.
Zafilla kind of looks at hers and her sisters. Yes, you know, this area, it's seems like it would be rather rich in ore. You might be able to find, some gems if you wanted me to do the work for you.
Yeah, that'd be great. If we have the time, I definitely want gems, and if you do the work for me.
Very good. Just
some
let me
particular
know.
ideas.
I'll be around.
But that's not what we're talking about. We want to catch up a little bit on some things.
Of course, yes.
So how is Lilith Lila been since we've not been there in the
Uh,
last few weeks?
Prosperous, in fact. Corilla kind of takes over at this point and says, "You'll be glad to know that the Ulvari have actually done astonishing work in getting some of the old glory of that city back. Uh, not all of the buildings that were once floating are floating again, but we do actually have some flying structures, which I still walk outside and just my jaw drops. It is it is a mind-boggling thing to see. It is so very interesting. But more than that, they've also been a huge help in restoring some of the fortifications on the outside, some of the guard towers, and even some of the older mechanisms that lie dormant, for lack of a better word, within the older buildings have been revived. And so there's actually several industries that I think can begin to kind of pick up pace within the city, and that should bring both tradesmen and new residents. Uh, but on the topic of new residents, we haven't been doing half bad on that front either. Um, as the buildings have been restored and we've had more space for lodging, more folks from Iquilea have shown an interest in coming to Lila and moving there. But even more so, several of the shipping merchants that have docked at our wharfs have decided to stay to make a permanent home in Lila as a base of operations. They and their
Okay.
families have increased the population significantly as well. So I hate to jinx it or to curse a good thing, but things really seem to be going amazingly. The city
Jobs
is
are up,
doing well.
trades up, population's up. Sounds good.
Indeed. Your grove, Cranmore, attracts not a few followers. You have quite a few folks who like to spend time there during the day and take some relaxation, some time away from all the hustle and bustle. It is a welcome respite for those who are very busy otherwise in their lives in the city.
Perfect. That is the intent of the place.
And Norwin, the church that you consecrated and was subsequently named after you, uh, its growth is not as fast, perhaps, as the rest of the city, but nonetheless, you have several devoted priests who have been teaching the words of Ogma and spreading knowledge of both magical and mundane technologies to the people in the city. They're doing an excellent job.
Nice.
Named after me. All right. Hopefully, Parkin's money is still safe. That none of us know about.
All right.
Sorry, giving.
Okay. So as the social time sort of continues along, um, there are more conversations had throughout the evening, but for the most part, it's more of this kind of catching up and making sure everything is going well with your other holdings throughout the land. Um, and at the end
Festivity.
of at the end of an evening of festivities, it is time to go to sleep. And once again, you take your rest in the inn, and rooms are provided for you at no cost. For your friends, there's not room enough in the inn for all of them, but several of the townsfolk are more than willing to kind of open their doors and let them, be welcome in their homes for the night.
There was one that we were crossing over. In these conversations, we're supposed to be showing them this orb. Does any of them have?
You gave it to Arthur.
Oh, we gave it to him. That's right. Sorry. Never mind.
All good.
Withdrawn.
So, as sleep takes hold of you for the evening, you find yourselves in a very restful night, and you were only awoken slightly before dawn by a strange noise, and it wakes each of you up. And in investigating its source, you kind of come together in the hall outside of your rooms in the inn, and it sounds as though it's coming from outside. So you head down the stairs and you open the door to the inn, and you follow your ears until you can kind of almost begin to make out a faint light that seems to be the source of this sound. So you go towards it, and it's just kind of floating there. But as you watch, it begins to trace a line downward. Very slowly, just progressing ever closer to the ground in kind of a curved path, making like an arc in the air. And the light, once it stops at the bottom of its path, almost unzips and opens up into this tear in reality. And through it,
What?
you see first the color purple, which is confusing until you realize that it's
The movie?
hair color. Purple hair, followed by nut brown skin and a deep brown cloak. Out of this hole tumbles a small rock gnome, who, as she stands up straight and brushes herself off, is recognized to you as Jasna, your lost artificer friend. And that is where we will end tonight's session.
Cool.
Is she joining us next week?
Unfortunately not. Emily has an intensive that I don't think will allow her the time to. I'm going to keep trying to convince her, but I think the answer is going to be no, and she's going to be played as an NPC. But it's still her. It's just not her.
Oh,
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
Oh.
Alrighty. Well, thank you guys for joining us on tonight's episode of Beyond D&D. And as always, may all your rolls be lucky.